It looks, smells, and tastes like the butter we're all familiar with, but without the farmland, fertilizers, or emissions tied to that typical process. And this butter breakthrough, it's happening right here in Batavia. In the middle of an industrial park in a suburb west of Chicago, something unprecedented is happening. So you're using this gas right now to like cook your food. And we're proposing that we would like to first make your food with that gas. The company is called Savor, and you better believe it. Their pioneering tech uses carbon and hydrogen to make the stick of butter you see on this plate.
No.
I don't think so.
What? Why?
We're going to use all this technology in the world to make this very simple product.
Yeah, now we don't have to use cows. It's not tied to cow farts anymore. Like, I think they think that they're solving the world's problems and we're just not going to need animals or their fats anymore.
Yeah, I don't see how this is actually going to make the world a better place. We found a better way to get butter by using all these giant machines you see behind me to create butter. I don't think that makes sense to me, but
not tied to emissions. Well, what is that?
This is the biggest problems. These are the problems that they're working on solving. I don't see that as a benefit to humanity. In fact, I don't think that our stomachs are going to know what the heck that is.
Yeah, until that butter starts giving everyone cancer. And then they're like, well, at least, it's not tied to the CO2 levels.
Yeah, but you can feel good knowing that you saved the planet.
While killing yourself. Oh my gosh.
So there's only a few restaurants that are doing it all in California that are starting to buy this butter. But be on the lookout, guys, and call some restaurants down the line and be like, hey, are you guys using this?
I ask them if they're using Savor.
Savor. It's pretty gross.
Don't eat it.
Yeah. I think the whole point is for them to actually reduce carbon, but they don't actually say how much carbon it will be actually reducing.
I think the whole carbon thing is a scam. Like, we're all carbon-based life forms, right? So, like, if we're going to just get rid of carbon, then that's just basically saying we need to get rid of all life.
Take a guess on who's behind this, guys.
Bill Gates?
Yeah. Mr. Epstein Island friend guy himself. Yeah, guys, and that's usually what he does, right? It's like it's all Orwellian doublespeak. We're going to reduce carbon. What they really mean is we're going to reduce you and me. They're going to reduce people, which that's going to cut carbon. They don't, because we're going to play a little more of that. Notice how it doesn't anywhere, and you can go look up the full clip if you think we edited it out or whatever. They don't at all address how much the carbon footprint is going to come down on this. That makes
a difference in this world.
That too. But I mean, even if it did, let's just say we agreed with the premise that greenhouse gas, yada yada, it's bad, whatever, cow fart's bad. Even if we agreed that, how much is this going to bring down the carbon emissions? How much is
0.00012?
How much is this going to reduce the carbon footprint? All it says is, well, they're doing this to reduce the carbon footprint, but how much? Give me a number. Give me a number. If you don't even have a number, it just shows that you guys are obviously either trying to avoid that or you have no idea. So you're not solving a problem if you have no idea how effective it is. You can't be like, well, I'm trying to lose weight, so I just started eating this, random power bar or whatever. How many calories does it have? I don't know. Well, how do you know if it's going to reduce the amount of calories you're eating? I don't know. Its whole point is.
It says it right here.
Yeah, it says fat reduces fat. So here I go. Like, how do you know? Like, it's actually doing it. Okay? Yeah, electrolytes, exactly. So yeah, it's funny because what Bill Gates and the gangs usually really mean is they want to reduce the population. And I'm just going to say, this is probably, like you said, going to be something that ends up giving people problems, and they know that. And that's part of what it's all about. They put useful idiots into it. It's the same thing with government. This is how it works. This is why you always find incompetent people at the head of the regulation admission, like either health, whatever it is, even government. Like I was saying, there's always some useful idiot who's in that position. Like, remember that water rights thing that we went to, and the guy's like, I don't even know why I'm here. I'm so happy to be here. It's just because my dad or my grandpa's name's on the building, because they won't even look at what it is that they're supposed to be looking at. So they put a useful idiot in the power, into that position, because that person is very like, yeah, water rights, but they have no idea how to actually evaluate what is affecting the water. So they never get savvy enough to the scam to be able to question what's happening. They just go with what the experts are telling them.
Yeah, and they frame it in a way to make you feel like now you have to join so that you can also contribute to the solution and be part of, something that's going to, be helpful for the world and helpful for all these things. Like they try to make it seem like you need to do this to do your part, right?
Right.
And that's actually not what you're doing at all. Like you're just ending up shooting yourself in the foot at that point.
It's one of these things. So same thing with wokeness guys, Democrats and everything. It appeals to our inherent yearning for a hero and to be that hero. It's encoded within our DNA to be the hero. And that's what they offer. That's what wokeness offers. That's what Democrats always offer. They offer you a feeling, that good feeling. It's like selling you anything. I feel good. I feel like I'm fighting fascism. I'm the hero. I'm the hero. I'm fighting evil. I'm fighting injustice, and that makes me feel good at the end.
Fighting carbon.
Right. So it doesn't matter how bad the world or bad the situations are. I can always just feel good because of what they're selling me. So that's how the scam works. That's how it always works. Oh, you're fighting. Oh, it doesn't matter if it's giving you health problems. Don't even worry about the carbon footprint. Just know that you are making a difference. Right. And you're the hero. And that's what
10 jabs later, but you made a difference.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. 10 jabs. Just keep jabbing. Jab everyone and everything. Alienate your family and everyone. And, but you just know that you did the right thing.
Right. You're a hero.
Right. So let's
fake butter. But where's RFK on this, honestly? I feel like Bill Gates has been doing all this crazy stuff lately with the butter, the appeal. I even heard something with floss, like he's putting vaccines in floss or something to, vaccinate everyone. And I want to know where RFK is in on all of this. Why is Bill Gates allowed to keep doing this kind of stuff?
He's got a lot of fires to put out right now. Yeah. We did the last episode about the Marisol and all the mercury-based, ingredients. So he's working on it, I assume.
But he needs to stop Bill Gates because Bill Gates seems to be the source of a lot of these things.
Just go after him.
Just go after the dude and
and all these fires will just kind of disappear. But let's see what else they had to say, and we'll kind of go over how funny this part is.
That's not all. Of the 51 billion tons of greenhouse gases emitted every year, 7% is from the production of fats and oils from animals and plants.
7.
So when could you get a taste yourself? Right now, they're working directly with restaurants, bakeries, and food suppliers, releasing these chocolates made with their butter in time for the holidays.
Savor butter in either its current manifestation or with our partners. We expect that to be on the shelves kind of more around 2027.
Their teams here in Batavia, Illinois, and their home lab base in San Jose, California, backed by Bill Gates, who wrote in his blog, quote, "The idea of switching to lab-made fats and oils may seem strange at first, but their potential to significantly reduce our carbon footprint is immense. Believing butter can make a difference."
This is really about how we feed our species and heal our planet at the same time.
Oh, there you go.
I put more information on food sustainability and how this could impact our food industry moving forward in the story that's up on our website right now, where you'll also find more information about this company.
Okay, I don't want to eat any butter where you have to wear a safety goggles and a hard hat.
It's making our world a safer place. That's why I got this hard hat on. I mean, you see those machines? This place looks like an industrial warehouse. Who knows?
It is. That's exactly what it is.
So my initial thought, so I might have kind of talked over it. It said, but that place, that location was Batavia, Illinois, right? My initial thought looking at that, they're like, we're, reducing carbon footprint, 51 billion tons a year or whatever. And I'm thinking, well, those look like some pretty gigantic machines. It's not like some little tiny kit, chemistry kit that you can purchase yourself. Those things look pretty.
What's powering those things?
Yeah, what's powering that? You powering that off of good intentions from the Democrats? And you got a bunch of immigrant,
oh my gosh.
laborers back there,
That's
like
why they want
crank.
the immigrants.
Yeah, right. That's like kick open the door. There they are. Oh my gosh, sanctuary factories. So
Sanctuary factory.
so I thought, like, wait a minute, how are you powering those things in Batavia, Illinois? Let's take a look. Where are they getting their power from? Because that's not solar, its own. Oh, Batavia, Illinois has its own electrical utility and owns its power generation and distribution infrastructure. The city's power is supplied via two 130 volt feeders and distributed through the system of 34 to 12 volt. Yeah. Batavia also has a contract with Prairie State Energy Campus, a large coal-fired power plant. The city is actively planning for its future energy needs and yada, yada, yada. So now I didn't do a whole lot of research on this, but to me, it seems like they're partnered and they're part of getting their source of energy from coal-fired power plants, which in that case, if your whole scheme here is to reduce carbon footprint, how are you reducing carbon footprint by getting your energy from a coal-fired power plant source?
Right.
Doesn't seem to make sense now, does it? Now, if you watch that whole thing or you go read about it, they don't talk about that part of it, of how much it actually reduces, because you'd have to look into the equation of, well, how much energy are you using in these gigantic machines behind it? Yeah, look at, oh, thank you, producer Brian. Look at that.
Does that look like it's environmentally more friendly than a cow?
To produce this little stick of butter.
This is the whole, like,
we use 10 good
these are the spells that they are trying to cast on us. They are trying to make us believe that this over here is more environmentally friendly than a prairie full of cows. Right. Like, that's insane.
They burn like 10 tons of coal to make that little stick of butter.
Honestly. And did you notice how in the video they said, 7% of the emissions is coming from animals and all of that? Like 7%. Like if this was like 97% is coming from this, we need to reduce this. Like, right. Okay, like I can see where you're going, but like 7%, really? This is your solution to that 7%? Because this is actually going to probably be more like, I don't know, 20% in the future if we keep going at this level.
Right, we added 20% into the carbon footprint to reduce the 7% by 2%.
We're changing the world, okay?
Okay, I mean, yeah, this is hilarious. And I think, like I said, they just ultimately want to reduce the human footprint. Yeah. Your actual footprint. Yeah.
So let's just keep eating natural.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they don't want us to do. So eat your butter, eat your tallow, all of that. And
go natural as much as you can, guys.
Don't ever eat this. And ask whatever restaurant you go to, if you live in California, especially, if they're using the Savor butter. And if they are, don't eat there.
That's right. That's right. Ask for the truth and speak the truth, guys. And that's what we do here. We are Speak Truth America, and I'm Des.
And I'm Serene.
It's a show where we are pro-God,
pro-freedom, and pro-truth. We're just a couple of hippie patriots bringing you what the TV can't televise.
That's right. We got producer Brian back there making it all happen. Doing a great job as usual. Welcome to episode
34. Yes. All right, moving on to, instead of contaminating our food, we're actually moving into cleaning up our streets because that's what MAGA is about. We're about cleaning things up and making them actually better, not synthetically better. So Trump had a big announcement. We have a video, right?
Here we go.
And what he has to say.
Stepping in.
This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States. I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening, and they've done it before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right.
basically he's saying they're going to clean up DC because it's a wreck outside the Capitol. I mean, I know that here in Arizona, even outside the Capitol is terrible. Like, it's not a safe place to be. There's drugs going on. There's all the homelessness. Who knows what is happening there, but I wouldn't want to walk those streets alone at night. I'll tell you that. And that's not how any Capitol should be. Like, that should be a place that anybody, any citizen can go and feel safe being at the Capitol, right? Especially the one in DC.
Right. That's true. I mean, here it's probably your biggest threat. It's probably the sun, because actually it's hot as, all heck out there. And those people are out there in there with no help, no protection. So it's not the more humane thing to do to just let them live on the streets and take over the streets. That's not helping anyone. And it's not helping them especially. So we have to address the problem and actually take action, guys. I was thinking about this the other day when I was hearing about this. Or I guess yesterday, it doesn't seem to make sense to me that we have gangs. Like, why do we have gangs? Why is there so much crime in DC? We couldn't take a firearm into DC. So that was one thing that deterred us. We were like, no, normally Arizona, we can pack anywhere we want. We're often packing. But going to DC, there's strict laws against it, which is crazy because there's a lot of violence. There's a lot of shootings. Right. There's a lot of problems all the time there. So why is this the case, guys? And it's usually always in these Democrat cities. Everybody knows why. It's because they're soft on crime. They don't actually punish the people who need to be punished. From what I'm hearing on these stories they've got with the federalization, instantly people are getting responses to phone calls for, if there's a shooting or whatever, feds are there. I think even the state National Guard has been sent in. Yeah. People are on the case to stop it immediately. And that's what needs to happen from city to city. LA, I can't wait to see the Chicago Chirac. I mean, they call Chicago Chirac.
That's crazy. Because
there are people getting shot and killed every day to the point where they don't even report it anymore. And they want to act like this is all normal. It happens. It's guns. No, it's not guns. It's violence usually coming from gang violence. Right? There's people that run those streets, and it's time to take back our streets, guys. And this isn't a federal takeover. I know they want to spin that like, oh, this is Trump moving in with the Gestapo, whatever. No, this is totally finally what it looks like to take our streets back. There shouldn't be any gangs.
Right.
There shouldn't be any homelessness.
And we should be ending this homelessness crisis. Like, we're the richest nation in the world. We shouldn't have homelessness like everywhere. Yeah. Like every street corner, you see homeless people, right? You see panderers. Like, that should not be a thing here in the United States.
Panhandlers,
yeah. So yeah, the fact that he is wanting to make our streets cleaner and safer and a place that actually you would want to come to, right? Like, I heard him describe it that his dad had told him not to go into a restaurant if it has a dirty door, because if it has a dirty front door, then it's going to have a dirty kitchen and you're not going to want to go in there and eat the food, right? Yeah, he had, I think it was in this speech or maybe a different one, but he had said that. And how same thing with our country. If we have a dirty capital, like, what does that say about us as our government, as our nation, if we can't keep things tidy and clean, right? So
absolutely. Yeah, that makes sense. And my proposal, I mean, and he also, I don't know if it was in that speech, but he talks about how he wants to cut funding for states if they don't start to clean up their homeless problem. And I know people are like, oh, well, see, they're just going after, the poor people. But it's like, no, it's going to force the state to actually have to deal with these things.
Yeah, because there are homeless shelters that take in homeless people. Obviously, most of the time they don't want to live there. And that's the problem, right? They don't actually want a better life. So there's homeless shelters, there's rehab centers. So if they're having issues like that, they can go check into one of those. And then if they're criminals, then yes, they do need to go to jail. Like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, Trump's just trying to send all the homeless people to jail. And it's like, if you're a criminal, then yes, but you have other options too. And I'm sorry, but it's not an option just to sleep outside in the street, making it a nasty environment for everyone.
Right.
Like, there are options for you if you don't have money that you can get help. You will get government help. You will get a place to stay. Churches offer food to people all the time, and there's churches everywhere.
Right.
So there's solutions to these problems, and it just seems like a lot of Democrats just want to be like, just let the problems keep happening because that's just, what they want to do. And like, we're over here saying, no, there are better options. They can live better lives. Let's make sure that happens. And it will clean up the streets in the process,
Jesus does want us to take care of the low, the poor, the hungry. That is true. All of that is true. Now, everything's also very complex, right? This isn't the same time of, the same era of in Jesus's era and part of the world where people were literally starving to death everywhere. Now, kids are starving. People are starving today, and that is true. However, most of that starvation and things is not because we don't have the resources, as opposed to back in the day. There was limited shortages of food.
I mean, how many people throw away their food, right?
Right. Because like you just said, most churches, and there's churches everywhere, will do that work and provide food for people anyone who comes in. Food is available to be provided for people. So one of the best things you can do is know where the local church is and tell people, here's where you can go to get food. And if you want to feed them, if you want to feed people in your car off to the side, it's up to you. I would avoid giving them money, but keep snacks in your car, guys. Keep some beef jerky, keep some waters, and give them the food. And then, of course, then you can also see if they're like, oh, I'm okay. Then they obviously were just kind of panhandling. They're big grifting.
Right.
Because we need to take care of people, but that doesn't mean that people should be manipulated psychologically to feel bad in order to make income for them on the streets. That is not quite the same thing.
Right. And I know more than the food, it's about where they're going to stay and live and sleep and all of that. And that's why, like I said, there are homeless shelters, and a lot of cases, guys, like the homeless don't want to live there.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, because they have rules. And it's like, okay, well, you're getting a free place to stay. So yeah, there's going to be rules. If I go move into my mom's house and she doesn't charge me rent, I have to follow her rules. No food in the bedrooms, no music after whatever, 11 o'clock, no friends unless it's approved. Like, I wouldn't want to live in those rules. And that's why I don't. And we have our own place. But if you're in a situation and you can't afford it and you have to live somewhere where you're not paying rent, then you do have to give into the rules and follow the rules. Like, that's just the trade-off.
That's the same thing we're seeing with the SNAP program, right? We're seeing these SNAP waivers. And to clarify, the waiver does mean that the states can decide to not give the exceptions for junk food, right? So that people are getting junk food, and they're using it, and all that does is reward big companies for giving people health problems. The people are the poorest people who need this food, and a lot of people are saying, well, that's not right. You shouldn't be able to do it. But like you just said, you could still buy junk food, but you should have to do it on your own dime, like RFK was talking about. Right. All they're doing is giving people bad choices. As soon as you make those choices where the stores cannot provide junk food for those SNAP programs for the billions of dollars from the federal government, that's when you're going to see them start being nutritious.
And I saw this video the other day of a woman who gets money from the government, and she was complaining about how she can't buy brownies. We're trying to stop her from being able to buy her brownies in a box. And then this other woman making a really great point, like, yeah, you can't buy the brownies in the box. We're not going to fund you for that. But guess what? You can go buy the flour, you can buy the eggs, you can buy the milk, you can buy the cocoa powder, and you can make your own brownies, but you're a little too lazy to do that. And that's probably why you're on government assistance in the first place.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like people just want to take with no restrictions. And then that just creates entitlement and just people being like really bratty about it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I get it. And I don't want to spend too much time on this, but, you know, I would love to have my buddy, who was a producer. Remember, he came over and he had dinner with us. You weren't there when he was telling the story. He works in the healthcare system and he's a really good dude. And he is a believer in Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. And he does the work, right? And so he works at a place where when people come in, it's people who can't afford their health care and often people off the streets. And then, you know, we pay for our government tax dollars, pay for them to be taken care of. And he goes above and beyond and tries to find people houses, places to live, jobs. And I think every single one of them, maybe a half a dozen so far of people that he's actually tried to help, they have all said no. They have all, and actually even gotten really like belligerent with him. They've been like, oh, you're trying, like you said, trying to control me. You're trying, oh, I don't want, he's like, dude, I found you a place to live. I can't go there. I don't want, you know, because you have to be sober. You have to give up.
They don't want to follow the rules.
Right. They don't want to follow the rules. They don't want to, they want to use, you know, their money and stuff like that they get for alcohol, for things that like, well, I shouldn't have to give up my, if I want to have a drink, I want to have a drink. Bro, get your life together first.
Right.
And you just see how like basically none of them were grateful. And it sucks. Some of them were veterans. And it's just, it's a complicated situation, guys. So I know, don't let anybody guilt you on this because we do have to take care of people. Yes. But at the same time, there are so many available avenues for people to get help. The majority of them just don't want it. To.
Yeah.
And that's their choice too. My solution would be Bumtown. You've heard me talk about it. They need to build a town outside of town and you can take people there and then, yeah, you can bum it up all you want.
Whatever you want out there. Bumtown. Bumtown. Just don't do it in our town.
Yeah, right. Take them down to Bumtown. Semi-serious. I mean, like that one guy, I was just reading Solomon Galligan, the Colorado guy that tried to take a kid. He was an offender. And he tried to take a kid from a mall. You guys might have heard about this story.
Yeah.
They just released him. No charges. Bumtown. Well, that's my solution.
I think that might be a good idea now where we're at here. Like, we can't seem to find a solution that works for everyone. So, Bumtown. Bumtown
it up. You know, so we could just, you know, change it, put it in a district, maybe a Democrat district. They might get more representation if we divide up the map like the Democrats have done. Because you probably heard by now that they are trying to gerrymander stuff in Texas.
Yeah, so the Texas Democrats are still not back. I know we did report on this last week. And it's still at a standstill here. And they're just like, holding out, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because they like a lot of them went to like Illinois or whatever, where J.D. Pritzker is presiding over, and they, as the governor, I believe, you know, he's a billionaire, right? So he's a guy who's kind of quasi funding their runaway, these runaway Democrats. And when they asked him about it, now check this out. This is kind of a two-parter. Like, this is very interesting that, you know, we're seeing this happen, and it's a crazy thing. But it's weird that the MSNBC almost looks like real news here. They pushed back on him about like, hey, wait a minute, because they asked him about how come you have 17 seats available for representation and only 3 of those are held by Republicans, even though about 40% of your state votes Republican, actually maybe even a little more. So, but you're only being represented by 3 representatives in Congress? That doesn't make any sense. And then you take a look at the maps, and the maps are all jury-rigged. So it's just interesting. Let's see what they had to say when they pushed back on him. Because you don't see this often.
Sticking on your state's map, every major group that grades the fairness of congressional maps gives your state an F. Common Cause, a nonpartisan government watchdog, even says your map, and I'm going to quote, represents a nearly perfect model for everything that can go wrong with redistricting. And I guess the question is, you talk about preserving democracy. How do you preserve democracy if you're using the same tactics that you've criticized Texas Republicans for?
Leader decides what.
Oh, yeah.
Commercial.
Tony, let me answer this one.
Cut to Tony. I have nothing.
Cut to Tony. Cut to Tony. Cut to Tony.
Tony really knows what to say.
Honestly, you'd probably get a little more out of his random response that had nothing to do with anything, and it would probably have been a little more coherent than what Pritzker had to say, because he basically doesn't say anything either. All he says is, when we do it, it's good, and when they do it, it's bad. Actually, are we up? Do you want? You can play what he said if you want. It's funny because.
Distraction. The reality is that the violation of people's voting rights is what Texas is attempting to do. That's what's wrong with their efforts right now. And the fact that the president of the United States knows it and nevertheless is asking them to do it. That is what's wrong with what we're seeing right now. Democracy is at stake, and these Texas Democrats are standing up to what the GOP is attempting to do, which is to steal seats, because they know what they've done is wrong. They know that they've made an enormous mistake.
What?
So I'm not going to answer the question.
So we were asking about Illinois and your state. Yeah, here we go. Look at this. Look at this. What kind of map
is that? A river?
Yeah. Where a river runs through it. A congressional river. Yeah. And somehow they drew it up like this. They sliced it and diced it.
Does that look like a legit district to you?
Yeah, there's 17 available seats. And does that look like the majority of the state is being represented, or the state as a whole is being represented accurately, with only three seats being occupied by Republicans? Come on.
Yeah, no,
out of the 17, 3 out of 17. So 14.
Honestly,
somehow
this at the top should just be one district.
Yeah. I mean, and I know they're going to, you got these liberals. Oh, but right here, the population density. Yeah, we get it. But when 40% of the voting population is voting Republican, you'd think you'd have about a 40% split, rather than, 3 seats out of even half of 17. Well, you got like 8, somewhere around 8, a little more than 8.5, right? So you maybe call it 7, maybe 7 seats, even like 6, but 3?
Yeah.
Like, that's
crazy.
Ridiculous. Come on. And we know it, they know it, but it's just awesome. Like Brian had pointed out, he said, I know it got a little chopped up there, but he's like, that's just a distraction. So she said, I'm going to quote the unpartisan watchdog group that had said that this is a near perfect model of everything that can go wrong. How is that a distraction? Are they the distraction? Where's the distraction there? Like, you didn't answer any of the question of how your state embodies exactly what's wrong with it. And then notice how it's just like, well,
now,
deny, deflect, defend.
Every time they say our democracy's at stake, it's a threat to our democracy. That's the distraction. That's a tagline distraction. That's their default go-to every single time they get questioned about anything and they don't know what to say. It's always, but democracy, right? Every single time.
Right.
And so they've been doing this kind of stuff for years and making unfair districts to their advantage. And now Republicans are fighting back and saying, no, we're not going to do this kind of stuff anymore. We're going to make it actually fair and actually represent the state and the people. And they're fighting back. And now it's a threat to democracy.
See what they don't. Right. And yeah. And, let's just keep going with that distraction thing. Here's the distraction of all of that. The Democrats have already gerrymandered the whole country.
Exactly.
That's how they got there, basically. You got Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. Take a guess at how many Republicans are holding their congressional representative seats out of Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. A grand total of 0. They have 0. 0 seats are being held by Republicans. Now, does that sound like democracy? Does that sound like the will of the people who are voting? And like 30 to 40% of each one of those states, about 30 to 40% of their population are voting Republican, and yet they don't have any Republican representation, and that's because of those crazy cut up lines. They don't ever want to talk about that. I don't know why everybody isn't blowing that up, because they totally should be. So there's three things here. You got like states like Texas, I think Indiana, or was it Ohio and Florida, who are all redrawing their maps to get more congressional seats. That's why they're trying to walk out here in Texas to see if they can pull some kind of stunt to either stall that or try to fight it. But they really know they don't have a chance. It's actually backfiring in their face already. Now, the other thing is that if other states, I probably should have done a little more research, been a little more prepared, but I can't remember what the court case is. There's a court case right now in front of the Supreme Court that is going to overturn a lot of this gerrymandering of districts. They, like we saw with Illinois, they already cut up the rest of the maps to yield those Democrat results, and they did it by race-based, what do they call it? Diffusion of the vote. So they were saying that there was too many white people. I mean, let's just cut right to it. I don't have to be politically correct here. There's too many white people in these districts, and so they had to cut up the map in order to represent minorities. And in 1986 is when they did this. And apparently that used to pass for, a strong enough court case for the Supreme Court to okay it back in the day. They are currently overturning that right now. It looks like it's going to be overturned, and that's going to give what's upwards about 25 new seats to Republicans, because they had been gerrymandering it across the country in these different states to take away votes from Republicans undemocratically through these court cases. So that you got states that were not gerrymandering it Republican, and they were all Republican states. Now you have the Democrat states that are going to have to be, because they're going to have to redraw their maps based because of the new ruling on the Supreme Court, which, you got 5 to 8 representatives from each one of these states now gaining for red states, up to 25 states, 25 representatives losing from these Democrat states. And then you got the Trump census. Yes. So if Trump gets his census in by the mid-decade census, that who knows how many that's going to be. Well, we got 10, 20 million, because all the sanctuary states are in Democrat states. So they could lose who knows how many. If anybody knows any numbers on that, I tried to look up, I couldn't really find anything that gave specific numbers. Throw it in the comments if you got any information on that. But we're talking about 30 plus swing of different states. But don't get lazy, guys. Don't get complacent. Don't get overconfident. We still need to show up, and we still need to stick it to them, and we still need to go hard, guys. We can't just sit back and hope that things turn out the way we want them to. So
because Democrats are going to keep trying to do whatever they have the power to do to stop this redistricting,
right, and
to keep it how they've had it for so long. And that brings us to this next story of our personal story, actually. So I was actually trying to look up, because of the whole walkout thing, like how many times have Democrats walked out and how many times have Republicans walked out of just various things throughout the years. And so I was using Google and ChatGPT, and they kept giving me wrong answers. So I'll show you just some of the examples that it gave me. So this was telling me that in 2011, Indiana had a Republican walkout, right? So it says in 2011, Indiana House Republicans staged a walkout to protest a right to work bill aimed at removing the legal requirement for employees to pay union dues, blah, 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 right? Clearly it says House Republicans staged a walkout. So I wanted to verify, because I'm not just going to, take their word for it. So verifying this, I was looking up, okay, well, what actually happened in the 2011 Indiana walkout? And turns out it was not an Indiana Republican walkout, but it was an Indiana Democrat walkout. And here we can look at, right here. So it says March 2011, Indiana. So this is really tricky because this is where people get confused. So it says party in control of chamber over on this column, and it says Republican, right? So people would look at that and be like, oh, it was a Republican walkout. No, you actually have to take the opposite, because if they're in control, then that means that the Democrats are, you know, trying to stop something because they don't have the votes for it. So it was actually a Democrat walkout. And then there was a couple articles. I didn't send them over, but there was articles about this specific one and all the other specific ones. And it clearly says that Democrats staged the walkout. You can go look it up for yourself. But that kept happening over and over again. So it said it about the Wisconsin. It said it about a couple other ones on here. And I would even say, like, so this is me. I can't, my hand gets cut off, but me writing to chat. It's saying that the Indiana one was a Democratic walkout, not a Republican one. And then it would just answer me like this: "You're right to question that the 2011 Indiana walkout was actually Democrats fleeing the legislature, not Republicans. Thanks for catching that." And this happened over and over and over and again. And it even happened on Google. I wish I would have taken screenshots of that one. But I was Googling the same questions, like how many times have Republicans walked out, or how many times have the GOP staged a walkout? And it would list these same ones: Indiana, Wisconsin. I forget the other ones, but there was a few other ones where if you look into each one specifically, you will see that it was not the GOP. It was the Democrats. So it's just really strange that chat and Google are giving wrong, like straight up wrong information. And to anybody who's just, you know, looking things up real quick to get a quick answer, you might just look at that and be like, oh, okay, and take their word for it. So just be really careful when you're doing research and double check everything, because these kinds of things are happening. And if it happened here, then it's definitely happening in other places too. So yeah, I just thought that was crazy that kept happening with chat and with Google. Supposed to be like, especially Google is supposed to be like this reliable source of information, right? And like, no, it was giving me the same things. It was completely changing Republicans and Democrats. And it's like, is this the algorithm and trying to make people think that Republicans have done this just as much as Democrats to make it seem like not such a big deal that the Democrats are doing it now? Because like, if you really look into it, Democrats have done it so many times, and Republicans have mainly just done it in one state, which is Oregon. The 2019 being the most notable one because it lasted the longest, but it's pretty concentrated just to the Republicans in Oregon, whereas the Democrats seem to do this across the board in so many different states. So I don't know if that's what that's about, but go look it up yourself and see what results you guys get on Google or on chat, and let us know, because I want to know if this was like my algorithm and how it's like trying to feed me wrong information, or if that's just what it's doing to everyone. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting, and just a reminder to always look further into things, because we could be getting fed wrong information even when we're doing the research.
That's right. You got to research your research.
Yeah.
You know, it's so interesting. It's like, you know, the story we just watched earlier from CBS. It's like they're doing this, so it's going to reduce carbon footprint. But how? Like, you got to go look into like what is behind the story here. It's like, and I feel like this is what they do, like to your point about how they say, here's the results. Most people don't read past the headline. Right.
They won't go look into it. They'll be like, oh, chat told me that, you know, Republicans have walked out just as much as Democrats in all of these instances.
And they'll move right on. They'll think that was the research.
You're dumb. You didn't do research. Like, you're dumb.
Right. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I think it's like nearly 100% of my personal anecdotal experience of when people go, you know, this or that. Did you hear Trump did this, or did you hear this, that? And then they send you the article. Right.
Oh, yeah. And then
go,
you actually read it.
Yeah. Like anytime your Democrat friends send you an article saying this is going to destroy the economy or whatever, and you're like, oh, wow, let me send me the article. And then you read the article, and what does it say? Usually, like I said, almost 100% of the time, the article either just doesn't say that, Like the headline reads that, and then it gives some what experts say and yada yada yada. But then at some point it'll say something
completely different.
It's like,
or an added detail that completely changes the context.
Right. Like saying like, well, this is all based on this guy's opinion. It's like, okay, well, it's that guy's opinion, or this group of people say this. So you wrote this whole article telling me this is the objective truth, when right here at this part 3, and it's usually like the 5th or 6th, down the line, a couple pages scroll down, it says this is all based on their opinion. Their professional opinion.
Like I remember,
you tell me this is facts, and then you're saying it's based on opinion.
That I was having an argument with somebody about, illegals and all of that, and how there's been much crime, and we need, justice for all of our women and children who have been hurt by illegals, raped and murdered, and all of that. And somebody sent me an article and said, because I had mentioned Laken Riley, and sent me an article saying that her dad doesn't like that her name is being used for political purposes, right? And that's like the headline, right? It's something along those lines. And I actually read the whole article, and like he had mentioned something like he doesn't like that, it's become so political. But in the article, it also said that he voted for Trump and supports Trump's agenda to deport illegals to stop this problem. And then not to mention that her mom, and I think it was like her brother or sister or somebody else in her family, actually was brought up on stage with Trump at a rally in support of all of this. So like their point was that like the families of these victims don't support this, what you're talking about. But then like you actually read the article, and it's like maybe one part of it was something that was something they said, but then in context, like, okay, they voted for Trump, they're standing with Trump on stage, like they're obviously supporting what he's calling for. Man, so like your point doesn't make any sense.
Should have pulled this up, because I believe there was a part where he actually did say he appreciated that they were bringing attention to this, and that his daughter's death wasn't in vain. He didn't nobody wants
like that it's being used for political purposes or whatever.
Nobody wants to be paraded around,
right? But then he did appreciate that the story is being used to stop the problem.
Right. To bring justice for his daughter, so that doesn't help to anyone. So he it straight up said that he was happy about that.
And every single time we're like, did you even read this article that you sent me?
Right. Oh yeah. And it's just real quick, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but remember, so when Sound of Freedom came out, there was this article that came out. Oh, yeah. And my dad sent this to me. He was like, hey, this movie you want me to go see is it said like a major financier of Sound of Freedom is busted for kidnapping. And like there's so many problems wrong with that article, but then they changed it the next day. Luckily I screenshotted this, so I could have pulled this up. Maybe we'll do it on another different episode, but and then I sent it back to him. I like say, hey, they changed it. It said Now, if you read it today, it just says a financier, and all it was somebody who had contributed to donated to a GoFundMe.
Not only that, but wasn't the story that the dude was the owner of an apartment complex where somebody living in that apartment complex was kidnapping like their niece or something like that? Like it wasn't.
It was a domestic dispute over.
It wasn't like they were.
It was a custody dispute over 2 parents, and he was allowing them to stay there.
He was
so he was in the middle of a technical.
So like he went out and kidnapped anybody. So like,
but yeah, that was, and there were so many things wrong with that, but that wasn't even the story. The story about what I'm getting at is, remember when we went to go eat with some friends, and someone goes, "Oh, I heard that one of the executive producers or somebody in the film
make up like this,"
and then they're like, "I heard that the guy kidnapped somebody." I'm like, where did you hear that? I don't know. I just read the headline.
Right.
Remember it? It was like, wow. It was like a sign from God. Like
so like they throw you off. They're so what's the word? They're not true.
Yeah, they're deceiving, misleading. They're so deceptive. Like they throw it out there. It says one thing, but then do the research, guys, because you read the whole article. Because usually, like I'm telling you, 90 to 100% of the time, it actually says the opposite, or it's something that you can go back and go, "Hey, look, it doesn't say that."
This was not a good representation.
They know what they're doing. The headline says one thing, and then the article says something else.
Yeah, beware of the headline.
Beware of the headline.
So ending on a really cool note, actually. So, do you guys remember the actor that played Superman in the 90s, Dean Cain? Yes. So, he made an announcement this past week that he is joining ICE and he wants everybody else to do the same. So, he actually put out a video on Instagram about it, which was really cool. We can bring that up. Yeah, here he is.
Hey everybody, Dean Cain here. And for those who don't know, I am a sworn law enforcement officer as well as being a filmmaker. I felt it was important to join with our first responders to help secure the safety of all Americans, not just talk about it. So I joined up. And here's your opportunity to join ICE. You can earn lots of great benefits and pay. Yet since President Trump took office, ICE has arrested hundreds of thousands of criminals, including terrorists, rapists, murderers, pedophiles, MS-13 gang members, drug traffickers, you name it. Very dangerous people who are no longer on the streets. You can defend your homeland and get great benefits like a $50,000 signing bonus. Think about that. Student loan repayment legally, enhanced retirement benefits, and special pay for those in the field operations and law enforcement roles. I don't get that special pay, but you also don't need an undergraduate degree. You can get to work right away. So if you want to help save America, ICE is arresting the worst of the worst and removing them from America's streets. I like that. I voted for that. They need your help. We need your help to protect our homeland and our families. So check into it, as I said, and join today if it's something that tickles your fancy, because we can use you.
Awesome. I love based actors.
Yeah, he's obviously doing it to inspire people. I mean, I know they're being doxxed, so they're covering their face, but that just shows you he's like, hey, I'll go out there and make it public and tell people.
Right.
That's pretty commendable.
And the fact that he was Superman and now he's like actually fighting real crime, like that's just really cool.
Super cool. I thought it was kind of funny.
Superhero.
Yeah, real life superheroes, you know. I thought it was kind of funny. I just wanted to say this where it's like the left has become so out of touch with justice that when they think they see a Gestapo, but really it's just ICE. Justice, just ICE. I was like, they see a Gestapo, but it's just ICE. That's how out of touch they are with justice.
Right.
Yeah.
So true. Well, I think that's about all we have for you today. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you like today's episode, make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, all the things.
Thanks, guys.
And remember that we're all here for a reason, and it is up to us to create a better, more truthful world together. So always seek the truth and always speak the truth, even if your voice shakes.
That's right, you guys. And remember to stay powered up in the armor of God, you guys, because it's only through him, Jesus Christ, that we can do all things.
Amen. All right. See you guys next time. Thank you for watching.
Peace.